Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Welcome to What's for Dinner Live on Thursday at noon. Although it looks like it's 12:07 over here, Rachel.
Noonish. We're noonish.
Yeah. How's your day going so far, Rachel?
It's good. I've gotten a lot accomplished this morning, which feels really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How about you?
Yeah, I today feels like a distracted day for whatever reason. I had a little bit of downtime, and I guess I wasn't ready for the downtime. I had a little bit of unexpected downtime. So usually I have a plan for my downtime. I didn't have a plan. So it's like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And you end up probably not doing a whole heck of a lot of anything.
I like that realization, though. That's a really interesting, to bring to our attention that there's a difference between planned downtime and spontaneous. And sometimes the spontaneous downtime, though it seems like a gift at first, like, ooh, I have an extra hour, it can actually become stressful and kind of like chaotic because there's so much to do. What am I going to do with this special hour, that I have all of a sudden?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Which might be a great segue into what we're talking about.
Yes.
So, Rachel, give us a cap of what we've been talking about, and then if you'll introduce today's topic.
Absolutely. So if you're joining us for the first time, we are in the middle of our diet mentality versus lifestyle mentality series. What we've been doing is just kind of comparing and contrasting what a diet mentality is compared to living a life based on your lifestyle and making health changes based on those concepts rather than the diet. And then how this applies to several different areas of our life. And so more recently, we've been going through the 6 pillars of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. They're pillars of health. And they are, in no particular order, nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, addiction, community and connection, and then a potential 7th pillar called nature, being in nature. And we are on the 6th pillar. We've gotten to the 6th pillar.
Yeah,
so there's technically 6 pillars, but they're maybe adding a 7th. And today we're talking about stress.
Yeah. Yes. Stress.
We
all have it, right? Yeah. Yeah. How many times do you hear people say, I'm stressed out. I feel stressed out. I'm stressed out. Stress.
Yeah. And that even right there is an interesting thing because when we know that when we say in the brain how we experience emotions, when we say I am stressed, it's a definitive statement that dictates the way you think and feel. If you say I feel stressed, that's different because when we feel something, it is temporary. If I feel something, it can be temporary. I can make a change to that. If I am stressed, the brain kind of hears that as lock and load.
Yeah, that's what it is. We're staying here. This is where we are, and we're sticking with it.
And this is what we're going to do. We're going to be stressed.
We're going to be stressed. Yes, very good. It is a little bit of a shift in verbiage, but it makes a lot of difference. Yeah, when you say it. Yeah. Wow. That's good. That's good. So what do you think all this chronic, what is, so I also wanted to differentiate between maybe good stress and maybe the chronic stress that this lifestyle pillar is kind of alluding to probably or talking about. So is there good stress in our lives? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we know that there is, right? Because a little bit of stress gets you to do stuff. It's what is the impetus to get up and do something.
Right.
We know that the hormone cortisol gets a really bad rap, for being the bad hormone. But it's not all bad. There's a lot of good. We need some cortisol for that.
Right, exactly.
Getting us up and going, the energy to do stuff.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. Without stress, we'd be bored to tears. And then that's not good either, right?
No,
it's not good either. Yeah, we'd be super bored. Sometimes I think if I wasn't doing whatever stressful thing I'm doing, that's, what else would I be doing? Sitting around and twiddling my thumbs. I mean, That's boring.
Right. If there's no pressure, then
Mhm.
why do anything?
Yeah.
If there's no stressor of hunger, then
Mhm.
why ever eat? If there's
Right.
no and why
If
work
yeah,
to make money?
right. Yeah, yeah, if there's no stress, pain when I put my finger in the fire, you
Mhm.
know, I'm not gonna remove it. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
so stress can be a good thing, and I know in the wellness world they've kind of hacked these stressors, but to um, um, it's a little bit of stress, it's that
Mhm.
hormetic stress.
Yes.
Ooh, I use
Yes.
that
We
word.
love
Yeah.
our hormesis, don't we?
Yes, yes, just a little bit. So some examples of hormesis
Mhm.
would be a little fasting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
you wait a little bit longer for the food, but you're planning on that. You're
Yes.
not anxious about it. Mm,
Big difference. There's a
mhm,
big difference there.
yeah,
Yeah. This is
yeah,
not starvation, see how long
right.
you can go without food. This isn't manipulating food in a way that, like, I can't eat or I don't get to eat. It's more about I'm planning this
Mm,
stressor of fasting, and what that does when we go without food, when we would normally be eating, when it's been
mhm,
more than 12 or 13
mhm,
hours, suddenly the body interprets this as it's a small stressor, right? You're not dying of
mhm,
starvation at that point,
mhm,
but the body starts to do some stuff. It kicks
mhm.
off these
Right.
helpful and very, healing and reparative processes. It's
Yes.
really you
Yeah.
think it's bad. It's not all bad.
Right. That's right. Excellent. Excellent. And the same sort of repairing and healing processes can happen with other stressors like extreme temperatures. So a little bit of a cold plunge
Uh-huh.
or a little bit of sauna, both are those things are hormetic stressors which
Mhm.
have benefit in the body. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are some others? I'm trying to think. I know I've seen a list before, and I'm trying to picture it in my
Well,
head.
I'm going to say that sometimes, we label some of the phytochemicals, the compounds in
Mm.
plants as anti-nutrients. It might be the dose there, but sometimes it is those compounds, the same compounds are a little bit of hormetic stressors, to the body. So they kind
Yeah.
of push the body a little bit, but not too
Mhm.
much. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So those are some other things that I think maybe high intensity a
Mm.
workout, high intensity interval training can be a
Thank you.
hormetic stressor. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. The idea with high intensity is that you're doing, about, 70 to 80% of your max heart rate
Mhm.
for 3 to 4 minutes, or as long as you can,
Mhm.
and then you
Mhm.
slow it back down, you
Right.
recover to baseline, and then you
Mhm.
hit it again.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a stress, obviously it's
Mhm.
hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard to stay in that level of exercise for
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4 minutes,
Right.
but and it does stress the body, even weightlifting. Stress,
Mhm. Yeah.
we're technically tearing down
Mhm. Yeah.
muscle fibers, building them back up. We get sore, right?
Mhm.
That's inflammation. That's an injury of sorts, but it tells the body, "Rebuild stronger, go
Right.
bigger,"
Yeah.
you know,
That's right.
heal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those kind of stressors we're intentional about, or we can be intentional
Mhm,
about, and then we can control them in a way that doesn't do harm.
mhm.
So and actually brings more health.
Yeah.
So these other stressors, that we're thinking of, and probably also the lifestyle pillar, they're talking about work stress, relationship stress, life stress, financial stress,
Yeah.
and it seems to me that life here in America, where you're supposed to achieve, accomplish, bigger, better,
Mhm.
faster, and be involved in 10 things and,
Yeah.
schedule yourself crazy.
Mhm.
That's the kind of stress that can not be good. Yeah.
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 It's chronic, right? That's why we call it chronic, because it doesn't come and go. It kind of comes and stays, and we kind of
Yeah.
build on it and keep making it
Mhm.
worse.
Right.
You have the house, you want the bigger house. You have the car, you want the better car. You have the job, you
Mhm.
want the better job.
Mhm.
And it's it's not going to stop after 3 or 4 minutes of a hit workout. That's, those hormone, those stressors stop. These
Yeah.
ones, they're chronic because sometimes we don't see an end in sight.
Right.
Sometimes it's ongoing. And
Mhm.
we certainly have tools we can use to mitigate the ongoing stress. Some stress
Mhm.
we can't avoid. Some stressors
Mhm.
are,
Mhm.
a job that's hard, um, is going to be hard, and we can maybe
Yeah.
do things to change some things, but not everything's in our control all the time.
Right. Right.
But there are strategies to mitigate some of it. But when you
Mhm.
said faster, that word really stuck out to me. You went, bigger, faster, stronger, whatever,
Mhm.
better. But faster really stuck out to me
Mhm.
because I think certainly from the book that we talk a lot about, the slow down diet, that word slow is coming up more and more and more as
Mhm.
the antidote to our culture, to
Right.
perimenopause and menopausal symptoms, to
Yeah.
stress, to not being able to eat and work out and sleep. We got to slow down. We got to
Mhm.
slow our roll.
Mm.
That
Right.
that word really kind of striking me lately.
Yeah, yeah. So, right, we don't want to, go from waking up to running out the door, to doing our day, and then to coming home to, going through fast food or whatever processed food, and then, to going to the next activity and, dropping a kid here, dropping. Yeah, we know what. I mean, I've had 4 kids. You know what that's. You have had 2 very busy, active. You know
Yeah.
what that's like. Yeah. So I don't. If I knew then what I know now,
Mhm. Yeah.
would I have done things a little bit differently? Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah. So I like this quote here that I got from a random source. It says, "Write down everything that's bothering you today or stressing you out.
Mm.
Which ones are in your power to change?" Hmm. And then it says, "Cool, go get started." Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's so freeing. The way that that's written is really freeing and so empowering.
Hmm.
Um, and I do think there's something very important to asking yourself the question. We got to ask it and we got to answer the question. It's not
Mhm.
one thing to just say, I'm feeling so stressed out. I've got all these things. What? What do you have all these things? What are the
Mhm.
things?
Mhm. Mhm.
Can you even verbalize them? Because sometimes
Mhm.
blow it up and it's bigger than it actually is. And it
Mm.
might only come down to 1 or 2 things that are really at the crux. And maybe one of those is even in our control. So I love the idea of what is it? Ask yourself the question, can you write it down? Could you verbalize it? And listen, tell yourself how many things are stressing you out. Give yourself a number. And then I love that. Well, what can you control? And we know very quickly when we look at that list, like, oh, what can I really control? What can I do something about today? Could I really
Mhm.
do something about this today?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
cool, go do that.
Yeah. Right.
All of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, oh, that's easier.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. And to your point, sometimes we're making mountains out of molehills.
Mhm.
And we don't really know that until we ask that first question, what's
Yeah,
stressing me out? And then not just asking, but I'm going to repeat it because it's so good, answering the question. And so
mhm.
that's I think sometimes that's the hardest thing to do is get real honest and because it takes time, it takes a
Mhm,
little emotional energy. There might
mhm.
be some fear involved that you have to confront, and
Yeah.
even in a fear of verbalize if I say it out loud.
Is it real? Is it
Yeah.
true? Yeah,
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
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 And that's so fair that we have to acknowledge that and give ourselves that grace about that it can be really hard.
Mhm.
But it's so worth it. Because saying it out loud, and not saying it out loud doesn't change that it's there,
Mhm.
right? We're just bringing it out of the light. We're bringing it into the light.
Yes.
We talk about shame, right? It hides in the dark. We can bring it out to the light, air it
Mhm.
out a little bit. And then so often when we write it down or say it out loud, we realize, oh, yeah, that's not that bad. Why? We really can
Mhm,
make it bigger than it is in
mhm,
our minds.
mhm.
And it's worth the couple minutes because the reality is, if you don't write it down, if you don't get honest about it and say it out loud and ask yourself the question, you're likely going to perseverate and stress out about it for many minutes, many half hours, many hours, perhaps the whole day, the whole week. It's
Mhm,
just gonna
mhm.
it's just gonna keep that deep
Right.
current of stress right
Yeah,
under the surface.
yeah, yeah, that's so good. Yeah, and I think that one of the things that we have to get realistic about is, the amount of time in a day.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It's only 24 hours. I'm just gonna let you know, Rachel, there are only 24 hours in a day. Just
Yep.
gonna let you know that.
And I know for a fact that 7 to 8 of those are committed to sleep
Yeah,
no matter what for me.
right, right.
So, that's
Yeah,
cut it down a bit.
yeah, they leave 16.
Mhm. Now what?
And then yeah, and then there are some hours that hopefully we're committing to food preparation and food eating.
Mm,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm,
I wrote down a list of the things part of my morning routine every morning is to write down what would make today great. And I
mhm,
kind of brainstorm, I kind of set my intentions for the day, and it typically ends up with a little list like, okay, I'd like to accomplish these few things. These if I could check these boxes, it would feel really good and I would feel like I'm honoring who I am and what I want to accomplish. Exercise is usually one of those. Some meal things, whatever. But I had a list yesterday that was probably 9 or 10 things long. And I went back this morning to check it, and I only checked off about 5 of them,
mhm,
4 or 5. And I had a very full day yesterday. I felt accomplished. I felt like I got a lot done, but the reality is I did not get that I I overshot.
mhm.
I
Over
thought I could do way more than I really could,
Mhm,
and I was busy all day. So that tells me it's a reminder of how much I'm
mhm,
actually gonna be able to fit in a
mhm.
16-hour
Yeah,
awake time.
right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, and so when you went back, my question, when you went back to your list and you had that realization, and you sat with the accomplishments of your day, so how did you feel about that, and how will that change the next time you write up your list?
Great question.
Mhm,
Exactly. And
mhm,
that's, I stopped for a moment and I felt my first feeling was frustration and, I didn't do as much. I didn't get that done. Oh, shoot, I forgot to do that.
mhm.
And then I looked back at all the things and celebrated and said, no, hold on. Some of those check boxes were big ones.
Yeah,
And I'm really proud of that.
yeah.
And then it definitely was that, okay, so then what's my resolution of this? What's my takeaway? And my takeaway
Mhm,
was I should probably be more, perhaps a little bit more decisive in what I choose that goes on my to-do list, and make it smaller so that I can feel that sense of accomplishment. And if I want to add something to the list, I can always go bigger. I can always add
mhm,
more if it's midday and I've accomplished my list. Um, and to realize, and maybe even one of my ideas was to split my list into the have tos and the
mm,
could do. So
mhm.
there's top of the list is the couple things I actually have to do today,
Yeah, yeah.
and then there's a couple of could do's. I could add them if I need to, but
Mhm.
they're not emergency, they're not
Yeah,
required.
yeah,
So
gotcha.
that would feel
Yeah,
good.
good, good. Well, Rachel, I know that, regarding this stress and this particular pillar, I know that I think you've taken a course about this.
Mhm.
And everybody has stress. Stress
Yeah.
is part of life. What are some of the things that the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, how do they approach stress, and what are the things that we can learn to do to mitigate that stress?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's helpful to divide stress into at least 3 categories. The
Mhm.
stressors that come at us, day to day. And the first one is anticipating stress.
Mm.
So we know some things are coming. Maybe you have a big work meeting next Tuesday. Maybe you have visitors coming this weekend. There's the stress that we can foresee in our calendar. And if we're paying attention and have a regular rhythm of and routine of checking our calendar, and kind of planning like a day or two in advance, we can anticipate stress. And when we know that stress is coming, we can do things that day to prepare ourselves, making sure we're eating and drinking healthy and getting, plenty of water, making sure we're getting our sleep. Perhaps we spend some time alone in the days leading to some stress days so that we feel kind of centered, balanced, kind of restored. Maybe we spend some extra time journaling our intentions for how we plan to get through these particular days. What's my game plan? What's my go-to? These all help reduce the stress that will actually hit you later. And they also reduce the stress that you feel leading up. We can have a one-day event, but we've been stressed for 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, because there's so much swirling around it.
Right.
Then there's the daily mitigation of stress. And this is what I think of as the daily routine. I know not everybody are routine people, but I want to challenge you to try it. Try some form of daily morning routine, evening routine, or just a real normal rhythm of your day. You wake up at the same time, you go to bed at the same time, you eat your meals at the same time. You spend some time during the day quietly thinking and planning through your day, setting intentions, journaling, or even just jotting down, getting your thoughts down on paper so that it's a daily renewal. It's a daily refresh, and it can keep stress levels lower just in general, right? When we're in the daily routine and we're holding to our regular routine and schedule. And then there's the in the moment stress. And the in the moment is something just happened. Right. You get a hard phone call. You had a conversation at work that was hard. You got hurt. You all these things in the moment. We can help manage stress. Okay. So we may not necessarily be able to remove all the stress or make it go away. And that's not even really the goal. The goal is to cope, to help ourselves cope and manage through it. And so these are things we all talk a lot about. Breathing techniques, meditation, and meditations can be quick and in the moment. Prayer can be quick in the moment.
Right.
Calling a friend or a loved one, talking to someone, going for a quick walk, like get out of your whatever space you're in, remove your body from wherever the stressor happened. That makes a big difference. Going for a walk, doing some stretching, take a quick nap, or just close your eyes, like just a rest. So these are all things we can do either in the moment or just after the stressor has kind of occurred.
Yeah.
And then there's one more I'd like to share, and that is the perception of stress. And I'll just quickly talk about this. Pay attention to your language and how you talk about stress. Our bodies only really feel the negative impacts of stress when we believe that what's happening is negative and bad. So I can go through my whole day saying, this is horrible, this is bad, I am stressed, this is the worst, I can't get through this, I don't know if I'll make it. And that is all very heavy and negative and brings my body into that negative stressed state. Or I can turn my language around and say, I can get through this, I will persevere, I will gain the skills, I will find the knowledge, I will work through this, I'm okay, I'll be okay. And it's not all bad. And that really does change the way that the body perceives what's happening to you. So just, next time you feel yourself stressed out, listen to the words you're saying and using in your mind or out loud.
Yeah, I really like that's so good, Rachel. And two things there. I about this daily mitigation of stress. That planning piece is so important. So what I try to do myself and teach others is to pause. That PAUSE, pause.
Yeah.
And the P stands for plan. Maybe what you're going to eat.
Writing this down.
How you're going to move for the day. This is, and this happens in the morning. This pause.
Okay.
And then acknowledge stumbling blocks through your day. So you're anticipating. Maybe something that might take you off course. There's that meeting, or that's Monday. So and so always brings donuts to work on Monday. I don't want to. So you're acknowledging potential stumbling blocks. And then U is utilizing your tools. So yeah, the tools of meditation, of prayer, of maybe it's a wearable, maybe,
Mm,
yeah, maybe it's your aura ring or something like, I don't know. Yeah. So utilizing your tools.
yeah.
And then, then the S is, check in to see how refreshed I feel from my sleep, for today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The S is for sleep. Just check in to see how refreshed I feel. That might should be the first one, but because of the what that I wanted to
The
spell
word.
pause.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the last one is enjoy. So it's, enjoying my setting the mindset for enjoy expecting good things from the day. Yeah. So
Ex-
setting
Expect,
my mind,
enjoy, expect.
yeah, expecting enjoyment from the day. So, and I got this big meeting, and instead of going in, oh yeah,
Mm,
or whatever it is,
mhm.
that expectation of something good coming from it. So,
Love it.
mhm,
I love it.
yeah.
Okay, PAUSE, we got the pause. That's a great, um, that right there can lead us through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
excellent.
yeah, good.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. This is good
Well,
stuff.
I checked the time and I realized I've got to jump over to my
Okay.
other
Yeah.
class
Yeah.
at 12:30.
Okay.
Just saw the time. Such
Okay.
a good conversation. As
Yeah.
always, we can do this forever and we can talk so
Yeah.
long. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks, Dr. Gilbert.
Okay. Thanks, Rachel.
Bye.